Now that Diana has some help, she needs to discover what about her past is fake. Has she ever returned home? Like, ever? Welcome to the Complete Story Series, where I take trade paperbacks and single issues and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. The purpose of this is to give you a very dramatic recap of your favorite storylines, allowing you to be caught up on your favorite comic books and allow me to just be me and be weird. That's what I do. All alterations of the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Now, if you haven't been following since our first episode of the Wonder Woman Rebirth, Diana realized that everything that has happened to her, all of her thoughts about returning home with Mascara, her mother, everything, may in fact be a lie. So she reached out to her old friend Barbara Ann, also known as the Cheetah, in an attempt to get Barbara Ann to help her find Mascara and find her way home. Now, some time has passed since Barbara Ann became Barbara Ann again, losing the curse of the Cheetah, and she headed over to the picket to begin her search of how to get to Mascara. She explains the issue that they run into is that Mascara isn't really somewhere you can just go, but rather it is a place that the patron guards allow access to. In the past, Diana was able to just go there, so instead of her losing her way, it's more like the gods are just hiding it from her. Etta tells Diana to go on and get out of there. They'll worry about that stuff. And Leigh asks, why did she send her off? And Etta says, because Diana has a date. You see, in our last episode, Diana rescued Steve Trevor, and now the two of them are walking along a beach, and Diana tells Steve that she's sorry for being so late, and he says that it's fine, he'll always wait for her. As the two walk, Steve says that he'll go first then. He missed her. A lot. And she tells him that she missed him too, but he never really reached out to her. Steve says it's because she already had someone, referring to her relationship with Superman a little while ago in the entire Wonder Woman timeline. She then tells him that being with him is simple, uncomplicated. Though she is good at loving, she is not so much for the romance. They have circled each other for years, but they've never truly tried, despite what they know in their hearts. And even with her mind not being at its best right now, there is one person that she's never forgotten, and that's him. Steve Trevor. Steve tells her that he's here now and he'll always be here, so wherever she goes, he'll follow. They both sit in silence, and Diana says that she's going to kiss him now, and Steve says that he's completely okay with that. Diana and Steve kiss, and as they enjoy each other's company, Steve's phone rings. He answers it and then hangs up, telling Diana that it was Etta, and they think that they have something about this whole where is Mascara thing. She sets out, and Barbara Ann explains that Mascara isn't actually a literal place, but more of a divine place. They need to figure out the location where the two worlds cross. A place where Mascara and this world physically meet. A place where the barrier is somewhat weak. Diana flies with Steve, saying that she knows of such a place. And as they arrive, she sees nothing. Suddenly, Diana hears a voice calling out to her, and when she turns back, the two are surrounded by Amazons. Through the crowd, Hippolyta, Diana's mother, welcomes her home. Meanwhile, back at the picket, Etta brings out the remains of Erz Kataga to the supervisor, Sasha Bordeaux. Sasha asks how Diana and Steve are doing since they left, and Etta says that they vanished off the map a few hours ago, which is a good sign since Mascara doesn't actually exist in this world. They both laugh, and Sasha then says that she's going to go ahead and get their god in a box over to the containment. She'll see everyone later. But as she sits in her car, her eyes begin to light up, and a voice asks how goes their plan. Sasha reports that she has the god fragment. She'll return to the requested destination in 60 minutes. However, across the parking lot, Etta watches and sees the glow coming from Sasha's car. Back at Mascara, Hippolyta makes a toast welcoming back her daughter. As she raises her glass, she notices Diana is somewhat distracted. She asks if everything's alright, and Diana tells her that it's strange. She thought that her and everyone else died, that Olympus was close to her. Hippolyta tells her not to worry about that. All that matters is that she's back home. As the two go on, though, Steve watches and tells everyone that he'll be right back. After leaving, Hippolyta mentions that there may be a risk in bringing a man here. They shouldn't let him wander alone. And a short while later, Steve walks through the island, and he's stopped by another Amazon telling him that he's not welcome here. He tells her that he's sorry, he's just looking for someone. Castelia, the priestess? The Amazon says that she knows not of a Castelia, and he still should not be wandering alone. As that Amazon walks off, Diana runs up asking if everything's alright, and thinking about it, he tells her actually, no. When they first met, he couldn't understand anything until they met Barbara Ann. Even they couldn't communicate, but now he understands them. The architect is different too. Even everyone's faces, none of it's the same. But as he goes on, Diana says that her wrists hurt, and blood begins to drip down them. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Edo watches Sasha take in the container holding Earth's Kataga and place it on a park bench. A short while later, Dr. Veronica Kale comes by and picks it up, and Eda says that she's pretty sure that that doesn't belong to her. Veronica tells her that she has no idea what she's gotten herself into, so go ahead and kill her, but do not capture her. A blue light begins to shine from behind Eda, and then she turns to see Sasha standing there. She pulls her gun and fires, blowing away most of Sasha's face, and as her body falls to the ground, Veronica says that she guesses that it's time for her dogs, Terror and Panic, to get loose. She lets go of the leash and tells them to fetch. Back in what we think is the Mascara, Diana and Steve make their way out into the fields, and Diana says that this is all wrong. She can't remember anything, and the pain in her wrists shoots through her. Steve tells her that he's going to take it off. And as he does, Diana mentions that this spot, she used to ride her horse here countless times, but where the grass should be is stone, where the flowers are should be rubble. It's as if the whole thing is a parody of the home that she left behind. And that's when the clasp on her wrist guard pops open, and Steve looks at the 2 puncture marks, stating that this doesn't look good. Diana starts to say that it is something that happened long before they met. It was when she was riding that she saw, but then she stopped by a blinding light that begins to shine. She looks around and starts to see everything shatter, like broken fragments of another world. And as the images fade, Steve asks what's wrong, but as Diana responds, she begins to mutter something. He grabs a hold of her and she shouts that this is not her home. All these years, she's never been home. It was all a lie. And that is where this little portion of the story comes to a conclusion. Now, if you hadn't figured it out, this is actually a really long story about Wonder Woman discovering the truth about her origins, and we still have not come to the conclusion of it yet. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and don't forget to subscribe so you can see what happens next in the Wonder Woman storyline, and I'll see you next time right here.